I think Freddie Gibbs the best rapper in the game right now. If we talking the past 5 years, put the drama aside, we talking about artists who are going to go in that studio, give you crazy verses, the flow is always on point, and most importantly for me, albums with replay value. There's some names in the mix. There's some other names in that conversation, but after this album, I don't know if I could put anybody above Freddie Gibbs. Top of the Top, episode 267, Stash House Podcast. Your boy Tyler checking in. First time listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. If you tune in weekly, salute, or there's just an episode, saw some topics you may want to hear about, thank you for tuning in as well. Podcast available on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe to your preferred audio platform. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Like this video as well on YouTube. Tell a friend to tell another friend, check out this show. All love is greatly, greatly appreciated. Hope everyone had a safe week, safe weekend. Do the same this upcoming week. A lot of things to talk about in the music world this week. I want to revisit last week's conversation. Tyler, Creator, Chromacopia. The album is out now. I had time to sit with it, listen to it, gather my thoughts. So I want to start with that. Also, music came out over the weekend. We got new Freddie Gibbs, new West Side Gun. And in terms of music news, Ari Lennox, R&B artist, took out her frustrations on social media about her record label situation. I want to discuss that a little bit. And at the end, Young Thug, he was released after being locked up for about 2.5 years. Some terms and conditions going on with that. So I want to discuss that at the end. But all in all, sit back, relax. New episode, Stash House Podcast. Let's get to it. So to start things off, Tyler, Creator, new album, Chromacopia, 14 records. Features, we got Daniel Caesar, Tizo Touchdown, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Lil Wayne, Latoya Williams, Schoolboy Q, Santi Gold, Lola Young, and Doechii. And those were delight surprises because there were rumors going into the album that there were no features, or at least those are the rumors I saw, that there were no features, so they were delight surprises. And last week when I came in and talked about this album, it wasn't out yet. I just wanted to applaud Tyler's approach to it, the fact that he went against the grain. Instead of dropping on your normal Friday, he decided to drop on a Monday. And I had time to sit with it throughout the week. It's a different feeling, like going with, in terms of the days I record this show and when I review albums, it is good just to sit with an album for about a week compared to 2 days, 2.5 days or something like that. So Tyler definitely benefited from it. I'm not here to say every artist should start dropping on a Monday or a Tuesday, but I think a lot of people can benefit from it. Like Tyler doesn't give me the I just got paid, it's Friday night vibes. Like he's gonna have songs that put me in that vibe, but overall, Tyler, Creator, waking up on a Monday morning, got a chance to live with it, and I'm comfortable talking about it now. Overall thoughts on the album. It does feel like this the only route Tyler could have went after Flower Boy, Igor, and Call Me If You Get Lost. Now, I'm very open about saying I didn't get on the Tyler Creator wave until Flower Boy, and that was 2017. So I can only imagine the kids who were Odd Future fans in 2010, 2011. They were probably kids at the time. They're adults now. And just to see Tyler evolution as an artist, the evolution of Odd Future as a conglomerate as a whole, that got to be a dope feeling. Like, we all grew up on certain artists. Like Wayne, he just had the Louisiana Fest with the Hot Boys reunion. Like the inner child in me loved that. So I can only imagine, Odd Future fan in 2010, 2011, now in 2024, basically being able to tell people, I told y'all. Because I don't want to say they were weird, because when I use weird, it's not in a positive way. I'll say they was more out the box back then in 2010, 2011. And just to see now, like, damn, that's the same guy from the Yonkers video. That's a dope feeling. Shout out to Odd Future fans, and they've been riding with Tyler since. They buy the merch, they go to the shows, they buy the vinyls, they at the pop-ups. They invested. They've been invested. Shout out to Lionel. He been doing his thing. Taco, Jasper, the internet, Vince Staples, of course, the mystery of Frank Ocean, and I don't want to miss nobody. I'm not, familiar with the whole conglomerate, but everybody from Odd Future, you can make an argument in terms of hip-hop groups, hip-hop, whatever you want to call it, they in the conversation. They definitely in the conversation. So I want to give a shout-out to Odd Future and those fans who've been down from the jump. Because I got on board at Flower Boy, so I can't give y'all the backstory on all that. But just seeing from Flower Boy till now, how he been able to change it up, going to Igor, then jumping back, Call Me If You Get Lost to Gangsta Grills, and now Chromacopia, it seemed like it all came together on this album, and I've been very pleased with it. I've been having it on repeat over the weekend. It's been in my rotation. It was a great week overall for new music. Let's get that straight. It's been a great week. When it comes down to the end of the year, because I normally do my end of the year episodes talking about my favorite albums, I might do that 2-part. And I might not even be like, this my favorite album of the year. I might just talk about all the great albums that came out over the year. 2024 has been a great year for music. R&B, I think, could be a little bit better. But in terms of hip-hop, no complaints from me. Now, let's talk about some of the records I enjoy on this album. I don't think the album really got going until The Darling I with Tizo Touchdown. And I always say every time I hear Tizo on a feature that I like, that's going to make me go and check out his music. But I think at the time, I'm cool with just having Tizo to be the great feature guy. I'm not here to say he's the new such and such when it comes to features, but anytime I hear him on a feature and it sounds good, I'm like, yeah, he fits perfectly with that record. And Darling I is another one. Darling I put me in the mindset of when I first heard Running Out of Time on Igor. Just the vibe and how it puts you in that mindset of the 70s or the 80s. I love Darling I, one of my favorite. Hey Jane, the perspective rap. Anytime an artist does a rap with the first verse, he's speaking from this point of view. The second verse, he's speaking from a woman point of view. That's a cheat code. It always works. Hey Jane definitely is one of those records. I Killed You. At the end, the breakdown, you just so beautiful. Like Tyler, and people asked me last week, like, does it feel weird talking about a guy who got the same name as you? It does feel weird, but it's in a positive light, so I'm cool with it. But I don't think Tyler, and this going back to Hey Jane as well, I don't think Tyler gets enough credit for his rapping ability and his production ability. Like, we just grew accustomed to saying, oh, Tyler makes great projects, he makes great albums, but we don't like to highlight the fact his rapping ability has gotten a lot better throughout the years. And his production, the fact he produces all his albums and the wide range of production on his albums, like, fam, I just listened to Flower Boy over the weekend when I was taking my walk at the park. Flower Boy is still amazing. It's just so smooth. The Boredom record, of course, 911, all those records just go well with each other. The sequencing is great. And then he switched it up on Igor, and then he comes back with the Gangsta Grills, and he producing all these records. He doesn't get enough light shine on that aspect. He's like a great all-around artist. You know what I'm saying? So of course, we're going to say he made great albums, but we need to talk about a little bit more than just, oh, the album is great. Like, no, the rapping is stepped up. The production is always on point. And I will revisit Tyler in a later conversation on this episode with that. Judge Judy, I really enjoy. Sticky with Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Wayne. Shout out to Wayne, too, by the way, over the weekend. I caught the Louisiana Fest on Amazon. He had the Hot Boys reunion. Everything looked great. At the beginning, it was a little bit Wayne, like we said, with the Super Bowl and all that, performance aspect. But you could tell he warmed up as the show went on. And by the time the Hot Boys came out, it was just great to see. It was great to see. They did the records you're familiar with. They did some records. I was like, I could have probably dealt without. But all in all, it was great. It was great to see all of them on stage. You had the Big Timers reunion, too, with Birdman and Manny Fresh. And they was in New Orleans, so the crowd was into it. It was an all-around great show. I really enjoyed watching the Louisiana Fest Saturday night. But going back to this Sticky record, and I don't know if I ever said this in terms of music, it could have used the A$AP Rocky verse. A$AP and Tyler are cool. I think this record could have used the ASAP Rocky verse. I could have dealt without Sexy Red. Wayne was just in there for a cup of water and left. But we've known Wayne to be featured on Tyler Creator albums as well. So that's not a surprise. But I would love to see a Rocky verse on that record. That was just a thought I had. Take Your Mask Off, I really enjoyed as well. Tomorrow, Like Him. And that's the Like Him record at the end. That's with the mom voicemail. And that's been getting highlighted a lot too with this album. The voicemails from his mom on this album. And with the Like Him record, she was basically saying, you know, your dad wasn't a bad guy. I just didn't want him around. And I'm surprised that didn't spark a conversation because I don't have any kids, but I'm sure a lot of fathers probably go through that where they want to see their child, but the mom is the one blocking it. But the mom is telling the child, you know, your dad ain't shit or whatnot. But in reality, she's blocking. It's a great conversation starter, one I can't really participate in, but I'm surprised that didn't get more acknowledgement. And of course, it's a sticky situation, so I understand it. But very personal. Very personal. Hey Jane, very personal. He tapped into that world too. The personal, introspective raps, I really enjoyed. Balloon with the Uncle Luke sample and the Doechii verse. Speaking of Doechii, and I don't want to be that male podcaster, but I got to be for a minute. Did y'all see that video she uploaded where she danced to the Doja Cat? I see what TDE doing. Combined with the great albums, you got SZA over here looking like SZA. Now you got Doechii. Because at first we like Doechii, the new album is great. She's probably the Rookie of the Year. If you want to say in 2024, I'm not mad at that. But I didn't know it was like that until she uploaded that video she dancing to Doja Cat. So shout out to Doechii. And she killed that verse. A lot of people saying, you know, she stole the show with her verse on Balloon. All in all, Tyler Creator, Chromacopia, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not here to say I got it over Call Me If You Get Lost Yet, Igor, or Flower Boy. And I'm not familiar with the work before Flower Boy, but it's a great album, man. It's a great album. And it sounds like he planned on dropping it to start the week off. Like, yeah, you can listen to it on a Friday, of course. You know, we listen to music, so we can listen to it on a Friday after work or whatever. But the fact it dropped on the Monday, I had time to live with it and sit with it throughout the week. Man, kudos to Tyler, man. Kudos to Tyler. And like I said before, we need to put more light on the fact that his rapping ability stepped up a lot throughout the years and his production. Like, it's a different, like with J. Cole, right? J. Cole produces as well. But J. Cole production style on his albums, it just seemed to fit just J. Cole, if you know what I mean. Compared to Tyler, where it's just so many vibes going on throughout the album, and you bring in features that fit those vibes as well. It's a little bit different in my opinion. Shout out to Cole. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from his production, but with Tyler, it's like you sit back, you hear Darling I, and you like, okay. Then you hear Balloon with Doechii, and you like, hey, these two different vibes, but you somehow, some way pick the right artist to be featured on these songs. Kudos to Tyler, man. Kudos to Tyler. This album is definitely not leaving the rotation anytime soon. I highly recommend y'all check it out if you haven't already. So now let's talk about music that came out over the weekend. First off, we got Freddie Gibbs, You Only Die Once, 13 records, his first release since 2022 with Soul Separately, which was one of my favorite albums of that year. I still revisit it to this day. He been low-key, though. He been low-key. The thing with Freddie Gibbs throughout the past few years, the social media drama has taken away from his artistry. Like, his music is great. He make great albums, but the social media drama is always going to take over in that aspect, and he had some real social media drama. So he been low-key for the most part. He be doing television shows, shows with Mad Lib. They celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their Pinata album, which leads me to my next point before I talk about this album. I think Freddie Gibbs the best rapper in the game right now. If we talking the past 5 years, put the drama aside, we talking about artists who are going to go in that studio, give you crazy verses, the flow is always on point, and most importantly for me, albums with replay value. It's some names in the mix. There's some other names in that conversation, But after this album, I don't know if I could put anybody above Freddie Gibbs. Now, I've been doing this podcast for 6 years. Shout out to that. October 30th made 6 years since I've been doing this podcast. Shout out to everybody who been down from the audio-only days to the first starting the YouTube page all the way up until now. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can thank myself all day to be being consistent and working the boards and doing all that. I want to thank the people who tune in. I don't care if it's for 1 second, 1 minute, 1 month, 1 week, whatever the case may be. Thank y'all. Thank you. I can't thank y'all enough, honestly. But I've been doing this for about 6 years now. Well, 6 years, definitely now. Out of those 6 years, Freddie Gibbs been my MVP maybe 3 of those years. So I'm not just saying this because of this album. Freddie Gibbs been in my MVP conversation for about 3 of the 6 years, probably more than that. The other name that's been there, Bodie James. Bodie James dropped 2 projects this year. Who else I put in that conversation? In the past 5 years, just the past 5 years, I got Freddie Gibbs, Bodie James. I'll throw J. Cole in the mix. I'll throw Tyler, the Creator, in the mix. And just the one random, boom, out the sky, I'll throw my guy 38 Special in the mix, Underground King. But as of right now, I think Freddie Gibbs the best rapper in the game. And this album just showed me why once again. Alfredo in 2020 was crazy. Like I said, Sold So Separately 2022. Bandana in 2019. I'm willing to have the conversation. Shout out to Freddie Gibbs. Thoughts on this album? Once again, introspective raps. Freddie Gibbs, like I said, after all the social media drama throughout the past couple of years, he touched on it. He touched on it with his baby mama, the Benny situation. He said something about rappers don't want to collab with me. They think I'm too much. They think I got too much drama going on. They don't want to collab with me. You know what I'm saying? One verse he said, pussy had me going crazy. I picked up on the first call. Like when he sit back and just tell you about the shit he going through with his baby moms and being a father and the celebrity life, he's one of the best in the game. Like, leave that social media shit. You too good of an artist to be that artist on social media. Whoop-de-whoop. And like I said years ago, I think he got a little bit too cocky. After Bandana and Alfredo, I think he got a little bit too cocky. And he got that sense of humor where you saying to yourself, okay, we done songs together. You know, we rock with each other, but you saying this on social media, like you joking or you serious? Like his sense of humor is not for everybody. And you really don't know if he's being funny or he's just going on a rant. So I really appreciate the fact that on this album, he just decided to just talk about it and just let it all out. No Mad Lib production, no Alchemist production, but he still delivered. I always appreciate the Slink Johnson voicemails. The Black Jesus voicemails, I always appreciate that. He had it on Soul So Separately as well. Favorite songs, Cosmo Freestyle Crazy, Wolverine, Brit Fees, Rabbit Island is an early favorite of mine. That's where he was like, Ben Thug and Hoes Front and underrate me like Jalen Brunson, but I'm leaving here with something. Like, his flow, he got one of my favorite flows in the game right now. He got one of it's a grown man flow, and he's speaking some real shit at the same time. I really appreciate that. It's Your Anniversary, the Tony Tone, it's our anniversary sample. When he came with that, I was like, damn, that's cold. That's a cold sample every time you hear it. I don't care if it's a R&B song, a rap song. It's Our Anniversary is always a cheat code in terms of samples. Steel Doors, I really enjoy. The biggest surprise, that Ruthless with the 112 Cupid sample. It's like, bro, who thought of that? I heard it, I said, wait, this is the 112 Cupid sample? Like, and he's speaking real shit once again. Shout out to Freddie Gibbs, man. That was cold. When I heard that Cupid sample, that was cold. And he does this, like I said, he had the anniversary sample as well. A couple years ago, he did the Bobby Valentino Tell Me freestyle. When he gets on the R&B records, hey, I'm not mad at that. He one of the ones I would like to be like, okay, I understand I'm getting tired of the samples, the obvious samples, but the way Gibbs come on and just tear them beats apart, Shout out to him. On the set, I really enjoyed too. He started off, damn, they done got Diddy. So you already knew what he was talking about right when the song come on. Damn, they done got Diddy. Shout out to Gibbs, man. This is a well put together album. And he just dropped it. I ain't gonna say out of nowhere, but it was like a real abrupt drop. I think I heard about it Tuesday. It dropped Friday. I was like, all right, bet. Shout out to Gibbs. And like I said, he been on the road, him and Mad Lib, doing the 10-year anniversary of Pinata, which is probably, yeah, it is a classic. Ain't no probably in it. Pinata, a classic. Bandana, a classic. Alfredo, one of them projects came out during the pandemic in 2020. That's the one, if I'm blessed to have kids one day, that's the one I'm going to say, yeah, 2020 pandemic, world shut down. But this album right here was the one your pops was playing nonstop. Alfredo with Alchemist, Crazy Soul, so separately still in rotation. And this album, You Only Die Once. Freddie Gibbs, I think, is the best rapper in the game right now. And I'm willing to debate it. Like I said, other people I put in that conversation, Bodie James, Cole, Tyler the Creator, and 38 Special. But at the moment, I think Gibbs got it. So shout out to Freddie Gibbs. If you haven't already, check out the You Only Die Once album. Like I said, 13 songs. Real quick listen. Also, more new music that dropped over the weekend. We got Westside Gunn. Before I get to those projects, though, y'all know I'm a huge wrestling fan. Over the weekend in Chicago, Westside Gunn's indie wrestling promotion, Fourth Rope, held their third event, Hills Have Eyes 3. I want to say the first two were just strictly like a concert, but this one was an actual indie wrestling show, and they had artists come perform, had Ron Streets and Derringer. I think they said DJ Premier and Pete Rock was DJing. I saw Dave East on Instagram. He also performed, but he held a real indie wrestling show in Chicago over the weekend. Some notable wrestlers that was involved. We got Jordan Grace from TNA, the former TNA Women's Champ. Santana, formerly in AEW. We had Zilla Fatu, who people are waiting to see if he's going to make that jump to WWE and join the Bloodline. We got Moose from TNA. Enzo Amore, formerly in WWE. Top Dollar, formerly in WWE. Joe Hendry, who be in TNA and NXT. Nick Gage, who's the, I don't want to say hardcore, because what he does not even hardcore, what Nick Gage does. I don't want to say backyard wrestling neither. I forgot the actual phrase from it, but he's a legend in the underground world of professional wrestling. And, of course, like I said, he had performances by Ron Streets, Dave East as well. And I saw some videos. He had commentators as well for the show, so I'm not sure if he's going to put it on YouTube or make it available to purchase or not. But I definitely got to check that out. You know, aside from the music, because, you know, he always say the music is a side hustle. I'm glad he got this Fourth Rope thing up and going with the indie show. And take it on the road, man. Like, you don't got to be a every month thing. Like, it could be like 3-4 times a year. Definitely need to do one in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Or somewhere in the South where I could check it out. So shout out to Westside Gunn in terms of the Fourth Rope and Smoke Dizzle as well. I saw MVP. He pulled up. I think MVP was like he's the commissioner or something like that. So shout out to Westside Gunn, Smoke Dizzle, everybody involved with the Fourth Rope wrestling promotion. Going back to these projects, like I said, he dropped 2. The 11 project, 5 songs, really only 3 because he got the intro and the outro. And he got the Still Praying, 14 songs, features. We got DJ Drama hosting it. Conway, Benny, Stove God, Cooks, Bodie James, Ron Streets, Westside Pootie. The usual suspects when it comes to a Griselda Westside Gunn project. And it was a breath of fresh air. It was a breath of fresh air. Like I said, Westside Gunn, he will be the one to give me the traditional Griselda sound that I personally enjoy. Last album, of course, he tapped into the trap world, different features than the usual, but he still had those, you know, aesthetics of Griselda. But he went back to the playbook on this one. And with the 11 project, the 11 project got some heat on it too, even though at first I was like, when I saw it was on like 5 songs, I said, why you couldn't just put them on Still Praying? But I understand it. Run the streams up while you can. But there's nothing for me to really talk about with this Still Praying. It's Griselda is what I enjoy from Westside Gunn. I'm more, I want to give more shout out to the indie wrestling situation rather than the music. The music, it was a great weekend for him. You know, he dropped 2 projects. first indie wrestling show. It all went together, but to go and do an indie wrestling show and have a great turnout that had like a steel cage match, that's dope. And me being a hip-hop fan and a wrestling fan, I always admire Westside Gunn for always going to the wrestling events, whether this company rocked with him more than the other company. He just an overall wrestling fan. Some more music came out over the weekend I did not get to. Lil Uzi dropped Eternal A Take 2. And probably for the first time since I've been doing this podcast, like if an album come out, I go on the timelines and people say, oh, this ain't it. Excuse me, whoop de whoop. But over the weekend, when it comes to this Lil Uzi album, I received several messages saying, hey, bro, I don't know what your plans are for the podcast. I don't know if you listened to the Lil Uzi album already, but I'm here to tell you, don't waste your time. Shout out to Vontae. He the first one that texted me. He like, hey, bro, don't waste your time. Listen to the Lil Uzi project. And I said it last week. I said, bro, we not in 2017 no more. You know what I'm saying? I understand those people who were kids then that were probably 15, 16, they nothing but, 23, 22 now, so they probably still can relate. But me as a 31-year-old, even when in 2017, it was still like a guilty pleasure. It was like, this ain't normally the hip-hop I listen to, but it's energetic. I get it. It's like the rap version of Jeff Hardy. Y'all jumping off stages and all, I get it. But now at 31 years old, I'm like, Uzi, I ain't trying to hear all that. And that's why I say I got to give it up to Playboy Cardi because he changing it up. The different voices and the features he's on, he changing it up. Where Uzi just seemed to still be locked in that 2017 mode. I'm like, you're going to get your money. I understand you're going to get the Rolling Loud. You're going to do the festivals, tour. I get it. But for me, 31-year-old, and then when people telling me, bro, do not waste your time. Now, that's the difference between, hey, man, I don't think this really it with the woot. But when they say don't waste your time, that's a different type of, this, you ain't talking about shit. So, Uzi, Eternal Take 2, I didn't listen to it, and I probably won't ever listen to it. So, it is what it is. Also, Jacquees' new album, R&B, Baby Making. I'm going to check that out. I know Jacquees get a lot of heat online and all that, but go back and listen to a couple of his albums. He got some albums. The King of R&B album was straight. Only thing with that King of R&B album, the features was unnecessary. Like, he got Thug, Gunna, Lil Baby, Summer Walker. Like, that album, the songs are good. I just felt like the features wasn't necessary. It was like, bro, you could have just soloed that, and it would have been a great album. He had another one, I think 4275, something like that. That's good. Jacquees got some good R&B. For all the heat he take online, he does make pretty good R&B albums. I will give him credit with that. Also, Jay Worthy dropped a project. Conductor Williams dropped a project as well. Overall, it was a pretty solid week in terms of new music. Tyler, Creator, Chromacopia, Freddie Gibbs album, Westside Gunn doing things as well in music and in the wrestling world. Overall, pretty solid new music week for me. Now to wrap up this episode in some music news, like I said to start, Ari Lennox over the past week let out her frustrations for her record label, both Dreamville and Interscope. Now, this is not her first time speaking on record label issues, but for the most part, people just assumed she was talking about Interscope and not Dreamville because J. Cole has built this reputation up that he could do nothing wrong. So people are like, nah, J. Cole fuck with his artist fuck with him. It can't be J. Cole. In terms of Ari Lennox, she definitely have a different story. Now, she posted an Instagram post, and I think she went live for like 18 minutes talking about it. I didn't watch the live, but I do have the Instagram post, and I'll have it up on the screen as well if you're watching this on YouTube. The post says, Interscope and Dreamville have been playing with me all month, and I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired of people treating me like they're sorry for me and like I'm the face of mental health. I'm okay, and I've never been happier. What I don't like is being signed and lied to and manipulated. Not one person at those labels ever knew how to market or protect me. Y'all don't know the half. Constant letdown and neglect. This industry stuff will never be for me. And I do want to add as well, she said, I think the end of this year or sometime in December, she will be leaving social media as well. And this is nothing new for Ari Lennox. Let's start there. Throughout the years, Ari Lennox has been known to go on Instagram Live, and just talk. Whether it's about women problems, men, women, her hatred for men. I know one point I was kind of distaste when she was like, black men ain't shit and all. She's known to just go on social media and give rants. So this is not nothing out of the blue, but this is the first time she's called out Dreamville by name, if I'm not mistaken. And I think we all can somewhat relate to that in terms of, I don't want to say the bosses, but the higher ups. You feel like you're not being protected at your workspace, or you feel like the company can do more for you. I'm sure we all related to that in some point. But in terms of the music industry, it's a lot different. And I don't never speak on record label stuff because I don't know. I just speak from a fan perspective, a consumer perspective. So I don't know the ins and outs of contracts and all that. Excuse me. I don't know the ins and outs and all that unless they just go on an interview and talk about it. But just from the outside looking in as a fan, I can understand Ari Lennox's frustration with Dreamville and Interscope. And she's not the only artist from Dreamville to speak out on these things. Earth Gang, who dropped as well over the week, might I add. This project they dropped was independent. And people are like, are you still with Dreamville? They're like, we just trying to see how this independent thing will go, just in case we choose to go independent one day. JID, who seemed to be making moves, but it seemed to be coming organically for him with the surround sound with 21 Savage years ago, the TikTok song with the women putting the camera on the ceiling, and I think what it called the ceiling challenge he had on TikTok. All that seemed to happen very organically for him. He's on Madden soundtracks, NFL commercials, all that good stuff. But just being a fan and knowing certain artists on Dreamville, I always said since the Revenge of the Dreamers, when they had that session with all those artists years ago, I said, dang, that album was pretty solid, but I still feel like the Dreamville artists didn't get enough shine on them. And then they came back with the deluxe that was more of the Dreamville artists. But I'm like, you could have did that on the original, and the deluxe could have been everybody else from the industry. But, that's just my personal taste. But I can understand. And two of the biggest things I took away from this that probably made Ari Lennox feel this way, of course she's dropping songs now. It's not getting the push. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't, which a lot of artists go through. Because people ask me, like, Tyler, you do a podcast about music. How do you keep up with all this music? I say, well, for one, I only talk about the artists I like. Now, if it so happen I like an artist who mainstream, then cool. If they underground, cool. If some people know them, some people don't, cool. R&B, hip-hop, whatever the case may be. I just focus on what I like to listen to or what come across my table and be like, hey, bro, you might want to check this out. It's pretty solid. That's how I operate. So if you're asking me, let's say Larry June, Summer Walker, whatever artist you want to think about that you say, well, Tyler, you like this artist, how you keep up with them. I just randomly go one day, just like, let me go to their Instagram and see what they're talking about. That's legit all I do. I don't wait till it come on my time. Like, it'd be days I just sit, it come on my playlist. I'm like, I wonder what, I'd be like, I wonder what Bun B doing. And go to Bun B Instagram and be like, oh, okay, cool. I wonder what such and such doing lately. Do they got a project coming out? Let me go to their Instagram and see. That's just how I do it. I don't know what everybody else do, but I just go. So Ari Lennox, if I'm thinking about Ari Lennox, listen to her music, I'm going to say, let me see what Ari Lennox doing. Go on her Instagram and be like, oh, okay, cool. Everybody's not like that, though. So I understand that. But the two main things for me, one, like I said last week, when I talk about Summer Walker and the R&B writers, Ari Lennox Pressure a couple years ago with Jermaine Dupri, Brian Michael Cox, it was easily probably her most popular song still to this day. But even I didn't know it until Jermaine Dupri did an interview about it at the time. He was like, yeah, people don't even know I produced it. It's charting on the R&B charts and whoop de whoop. And Ari Lennox, her team is not even taking advantage of it. Like, he said it in the interview. He was like, her team is not taking advantage of it. Like, we don't see her on award shows, commercials, or nothing like that. Like, you got one of the biggest R&B songs of the year, and we're not even seeing you around or nothing like that. So that's one thing. And the other incident is the Rod Wave tour situation. I think it was a couple years ago. She let out frustrations about that. And at the time, I was very confused because I wasn't familiar with Rod Wave fan base like that. He was doing arenas. He does sold out shows. And I was like, okay, the stigma of Rod Wave is he make depressing music. The people that listen to it are probably in a depressed state, or they can relate to being in a depressed state. But I'm like, well, Ari Lennox make R&B. Maybe, I'm sure they want to hear some good R&B music then if they in that mindset, because when I'm in a down mood, I don't listen to quote-unquote depressing music. Like, I can't think of no artist I listen to where I'll say a majority of their catalog is depressing. Like Kendrick Lamar do a song, you be like, okay, it make you think a little bit. J. Cole, of course. It's artists that I listen to that go in that vein, but they go right back out. But in terms of Rod Wave, all I hear is depressed. And I don't listen to the music, so if you're a Rod Wave fan and you think differently, let me know. But I've never heard Rod Wave on a song that's quote-unquote a turn-up song, or a song talking about popping bottles or nice cars or nothing like that. It's always on some sad shit. And he melodic. So I'm thinking, okay, he's melodic. Ari Lennox R&B. I know it's women that love Rod Wave, so I'm sure they love R&B, but I guess a Rod Wave crowd, they coming to see him and him only. And Ari Lennox just didn't feel comfortable. She said she don't feel protected. That's very alarming. When an artist said they don't feel protected being signed to a certain label or something like that, that's always alarming. But I don't want Ari Lennox to get in the situation where be careful what you ask for. Because it's hard. Like I said, for me to keep up with artists I enjoy, I got to probably go to their Instagram or something, or hope they pop up on my timeline to know when they dropping music. So, I mean, if you go into another label, just make sure the situation right. If you're going independent, you just got to put that grind in, especially for an R&B artist. We talk about independency a lot with hip-hop artists. I can only imagine an R&B artist. So, Ari, I understand her frustration. Will it get handled? I'm not sure. Because a lot of stuff going on with record labels, they say, recent months. I don't keep up with all of it. I just be seeing it. And me as a consumer, as a fan, do I want my artists to be in the best situation? Yes, but I can't think of too many artists I legit listen to that's banking on a record label. Like, I grew up, I'm Currency, Larry June. Like, these guys do stuff artists on the mainstream level don't do. They got their own merch, their own stores. Like, they doing their own tours. Like, I can't think of, Cole, Kendrick got PG Lane now, so, even TDE. I look at TDE as TDE, not TDE signed under a major. Like, I can't think of that, not one super-duper mainstream artist I think is reliant on the record label to market and promote them. Maybe R&B, like Summer Walker's supposed to come out soon. I'm sure that's going to be a little bit of that. But in terms of hip-hop, most of my guys be like underground or doing their own thing for the most. I can't think of people who I'm locked in with, like, who rely on radio. All that. I can't think of too many, honestly. I honestly can't think. Because anybody you can say, well, Tyler, Schoolboy Q. I'm like, well, shit, Schoolboy Q dropped Blue Lips. His tour was catered to what he wanted to do. His merch is catered to what he wanted to do. It's not like a label is pushing it. So I got to think about that. But Ari, just be careful, man. This music business it can be shiesty. And Dreamville just having an odd year all around. They are having a very odd year all around. So shout out to Ari Lennox, man. Keep your head up. And like I said, just nothing out of the norm for her. She's known to go on Instagram and just let it all out. So hopefully she get it together. And to wrap things up, Young Thug, like I said, he was released after spending about 900 days in custody, 15 years of probation. He pled guilty for a RICO charge. Prosecutors sought out 45-year sentence, 25 in prison and 20 on probation. But he got out, 15-year probation, terms and conditions. He's required to perform community service, give out 4 anti-gang presentations, prevented to visit Metro Atlanta for 10 years outside of special occasions with immediate family. He will keep his passport. He can have no contact with gang members or co-defendants outside of his brother and Gunna. So a lot of people owe Gunna an apology. And I told y'all, when Gunna got out and he dropped that project with Rodeo Drive and Fuck You Mean on it, I said, man, let the internet lawyers talk. If this man making great music, and we won't know until we hear what Thug say. But until then, I'm going to enjoy the great music Gunna was putting out. And that's exactly what I've been doing. There's so many people on the internet just talking, man. It be like, bro, we know you a goofball in person. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. That's a lot of things people got to realize, bro. We are not listening to y'all, bro. Shut up, man. You internet lawyers. Think y'all know everything. Don't know nothing from a can of paint. Shout out to Thug, man. People was like he should have, went to trial, got all papers for good. Man, that man been locked up for 900 days, man. Possibly could have faced over 20 more years, man. Let that man go home. He got kids, family he want to see. And the judge was super lenient. They've been live streaming this trial the whole time. It's a damn television reality show. That man was ready to get up out that court. You saw it in his face. He was ready to leave, man. Shout out to Thug. We'll see what happens in the future in terms of how he's operating in terms of music. But if I'm Thug, bro, I ain't thinking about no music right now. I'm about to go home, see my kids, see my lady, see my family. I can't be in Atlanta. Okay, cool. I'll go to somewhere tropical for a minute. I'll be low key for a while. Come back when I get my head together. Make sure I do these terms and conditions. Wallow, a great example. They said Wallow just got off probation. He was supposed to have like over 40 years of probation, but all Wallow do is go around to the jails and give out motivational speeches. So Thug just got to lock in and just stay clean, man. If anything, learn from this situation, man. You can't be around so many people. We see the Lil Durk situation going on right now. There's no need, man, have 40, 30 dudes around you going to these shows and all that, man. People you need to have around you need to all have a job. If you got 20 people around you and you're an artist, everybody need to have a job. I forgot. I heard multiple people say that throughout the career. Wiz, he definitely was an advocate of that early in his career. He like, yeah, everybody you see on the tour bus, he do merch, he the road manager, he controlled the VIP experience, he the light man, he worked the door. Like, everybody got a position. You're not here just to smoke and drink and talk to the women. You got a job to do. Go over there to the merch table. God dang, they need a refill on T-shirts or something. Hey, go to the light, man. Make sure the light good. Make sure the mic good for mic checks. Make sure the DJ got all he got. Make sure we got water for backstage or something. You got to do something. You ain't just about to ride the coattail this whole time. And you got to realize who you bringing on the road with you, who you associating with. You signing all these artists to your label, Gucci Mane. You signing all these artists to your label. You don't know where these kids come from. You don't know what they got on their record. You just hear a good little freestyle and think, oh, let me give you a deal. You don't know who you signing. So artists got to move smart, in my opinion. We seen too many cases in the past years where artists just getting caught slipping, and you hear the charges. You like, damn, that what he was into? Like, damn, that's who he associating himself with? You got to be more careful out here, man. Got to be more careful. But shout out to Thug. The Gunna apology tour, we'll see how that goes. A lot of people kind of X Gunna out, and Gunna was just like, all right, one day y'all go see, y'all go hear the truth, and meanwhile, just go keep making these hits, keep making these albums, keep hitting the road, keep getting these endorsement deals, and the truth will come to light. And Thug said he want to perform with Gunna, like he want to work with Gunna. Shit, I've been saying it. Outside of Gunna and Thug, who else from YSL go carry the flag while both of them was locked down? Wasn't nobody. Sadly, Lil Keed passed right when all this happened. Who else go bring money into the label if the two stars of the label locked up? But like I said, man, y'all keep listening to these internet lawyers if y'all want to. Dummies. But this been episode 267, Stash House Podcast. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Go out, have a great work week, great school week. Stay safe. Be mindful of your surroundings. Drink plenty of water, man. Keep control of your health, your fitness, all that good stuff. Keep me in your prayers. I'll do the same for y'all. Salute.